for law enforcement purposes. Could you please, Vagelis, explain a bit further on this and give us some examples on when this could happen?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Thanks, Frida. Thank you. And thank you very much for inviting me. And from my point of view, and I say this in not a patronizing manner, congratulations for the choice of the topic, for bringing up this topic, because quite frankly, it's been ages since I seen this topic being discussed. I thought it was, so more or less, I thought it was resolved. And but I'll come to that in a minute. So first, congratulations, then a correction. I'm not so much of an expert as I'm an old soul in this. So because this started like in early 2000s with a failed framework decision. I was in the room when it failed. And so it continued with the PNR directive 2016, I think, or something. And then I lost interest because I thought it was resolved. And for so many years, nothing happened. And the point I lost interest, and this is my bridge now, is when it moved, the whole matter moved from being an activity that is interesting from a legal point of view. So why regulate PNR? Why have PNR? And how is data protection connected to that? When it moved from that point on to a technicality, because today, everybody takes it for granted. PNR, okay, let's see if it is 5 years, 10 years, what access, de-anonymization and everything. But still, it is an activity that is not self-evident that it should be regulated. It should be processed for law enforcement purposes. And now it's taken for granted. And this is why I kind of lost interest. But now we can discuss this again. And yeah, as regards the background, so how come we got to this? It was exactly as you said. So in the beginning, back in the 90s, people were traveling, okay? They were traveling. But it was not so much, not a lot of attention was paid to any passenger data other than the point you reach the borders. After 9/11, the Americans asked mandatorily European airlines for the data of Europeans crossing the Atlantic. Otherwise, they could not land. So it was a rush to have a first PNR agreement with the USA. So we have bilateral PNR agreements by now. And at that time, it was evident. We also had some terrorist attacks in European capitals. So at that point, it was evident to the people, to law enforcement agencies mostly, that there is value, law enforcement value to this data. This is not self-evident because, as we heard from our colleague from Amadeus, there is a contract. Why should the contract be interesting to law enforcement agencies? There is a contract underneath, so the relationship is a contractual one. It's me entering this room, so there is security here too. So why the PNR of my entering the plane is different too? So it's qualitative step up, which is not back in the day in the early 2000s. It was not self-evident. It happened after the terrorist attacks, and then we were taken by storm. But in the beginning, there was a problem on data protection, and we were thinking, no, we need to regulate this better with data protection from a privacy perspective. Plus, therefore, we had the framework decision of 2006 aborted. We had a first PNR directive missed because it was released in 2011, I think. It is this one. But it was released in 2011. The LIBE committee in this rejected it in 2013, but then it was so much political pressure for it to be revived. Hence, we have the PNR directive of 2016 in effect. So, and I'm going to stop here, giving you the background, but I think I'm going to be the guy in this discussion, taking the step back and asking the whys. So yes, we can discuss 5 years, 2 years, depersonalization, APIs as compared to PNR, they are less, they are more, they are enable profiling, they do not enable profiling. We can discuss this, but please take into consideration that none of this is self-evident. It's normal travel. How and why law enforcement enter into the picture, it's a different story. It should not be taken for granted.
Yeah, so this is going to be a stupid question perhaps, but so a concrete example, would my PNR data